This video is about connection. Connection is the bridge between what you're observing and your influential objective. What is it that you want them to do? A powerful way to get connection is to get them into rapport by matching and mirroring their body language, mirroring the words they use, and matching their volume and speed when they talk. As you learned in prior videos, this will help you connect on a much deeper level. Now, another way to connect is to listen for and identify their values. Maya Angelou, she said that when people tell you who they are, believe them. When the people that we interact with tell us who they are, it often falls in deaf ears. But this is the information that you're looking for. The mantra of the influencer is, tell me who you are so I can speak to that. So the first things you do is to identify their values. Now in your workbook, you have a list of potential values. I'd like you to go ahead and scan through those and identify for yourself what you consider to be strong values for you. This is necessary because as you go down this path of being influential, you have to explore your own self, your own strengths and your own weaknesses and your own values, and then learn how to identify those values in other people. I value communications, but that doesn't mean that someone else does. Sports might be higher up on their values hierarchy. For some, it might mean family. But if you grew up in let's say, a dysfunctional, abusive, and a horrible upbringing, then family is probably not going to be higher up. It might be independence for them. It could be candor, or intelligence, or integrity. Now, their values might not be your values. Again, the key here is to suspend any judgment that you may have, at least for a little bit, as you connect with this person. So you're curious about their experience. You're not impressing yours on theirs. So how do we identify their values? How do we gather that information? Anytime anyone reacts strongly in a negative way towards something, it generally means that somebody has violated their values. For example, if politics is very strong for you and somebody attacks that, well, you're probably going to have a strong reaction because that is a value that is core to you. Now, people also react very strongly in positive ways when their values are reinforced, when values are validated. For example, if somebody smiles from ear to ear because someone left them a gift for no reason on their desk, then her response probably shows a value of recognition or appreciation or gifts, whatever it might be. Depending on your influential intention, if you want to elicit a sense of recognition or appreciation, this is one of the triggers that you can really turn to. I mean, it's really key. So here's how you use this. Let's say that you're a coach and you're wanting to motivate your client to move in a direction of growth, greater health, and connection. If you have a value of growth, but your client has a value of comfort, staying in their comfort zone, maintaining the same things, change is bad. It's a bad kind of thing. But if what you're upselling is growth, that's going to freak them out. So you, by listening for clues of what they value, well, you learn that comfort is important to them. And you can ask yourself the questions, how can I package this message to make them know that this is going to enhance their comfort in certain areas of their life? So you can see already how this ties into influence. Okay, the next clue we listen for is identity. Now this is where somebody will overtly say this, that this is who I am. Now most people let this information fall to the wayside, but these, my dear, are golden nuggets to the influencer. If your employee tells you that he volunteers for organizations on weekends, volunteerism is a part of his identity. If a colleague mentions that he donates money to political campaigns to support candidates, being a donor is part of his identity. If an executive tells you that she ran 4 marathons last summer, oh, you better believe that running is a part of her identity. You can use this information to develop rapport and as leverage. Now, the next one is emotions. And by emotions, what I mean is learning. What puts the person you're wanting to influence in a positive state? and what puts them in a negative state, because you will be able to leverage those two. Knowing how to push the buttons and leverage a positive state and knowing when to leverage a negative state is critical. If you need this person to be in a positive state, then you want to have a list of things that you've observed that put them in a positive state. For example, it could be that the simple thing of leaving them a voicemail, stating that you appreciated their efforts and their talents, that they applied to that project or that event. If you know that they would like this, it's a simple act. Or send them a text or an email, or bring their efforts out in person, like when they're in front of a group. This helps when you need to move them into a positive state. What can you do for them that matters? And then there are negative states. Negative states are powerful motivators. So let's say that you're in sales. Customers sometimes put up their guard as they wait for you to give your pitch, but getting them to relive what brought them to this meeting in the first place, the car that's nickeling and diming them to death, the ineffective diet regimen, the printer that prints every other line, whatever those things might be, have them tell their story. Go deep with it. Reiterate and elicit those negative emotions and their frustrations. And then once you see that body language, that significant shift into frustration, it's at this point that you offer the solution. You give them the Band-Aid for the wound. This is very effective. So positive and negative emotions. And it's rarely a bad idea to keep someone in a state of good emotions, a good happy state. My biggest recommendation is to let the other people talk, because the more they share, the more you get, and the more influential you can potentially be. I mean, there's a beautiful phrase that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And you should communicate in that ratio, just the same. So listen twice as much as you speak.